The Grieving Sisters. I'm Jessica.
I'm Elizabeth.
And we have a special guest, Jason.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing? So we were on his episode last week, 2 weeks ago. Obviously, this is going to be
2 weeks ago,
a little ahead, but we were, talking about this podcast. We kind of touched on a couple of things, and we obviously wanted to have you on here to actually really talk about the masculinity part of grief. But before we jump into it, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do here at Bravery. Because shout out to Bravery.
Bravery
up.
Bravery up. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, yes, indeed, I am Jason Enrique. I am the host of the First Class, Second Place podcast and the co-host of the 2 a.m. Crew podcast, which is New York sports based, but we're not going to get into all that.
Why not? Look, got my Yankees on.
Yeah. I mean, shout out.
We're one sports fan and one completely not sports fan.
Yeah, but that's
a real boy.
That's another time for another day. But please go ahead and check out, subscribe if you guys do like New York sports talk. But I do have First Class, Second Place. That is my podcast. I've been doing it for almost 4 years now, 3.5 now, almost at 200 episodes. And I'm going to answer the question that I get asked a lot: where does the name come from? And long story short, First Class, Second Place, the meaning behind it that I like to say is it's being the best version of yourself, but never forgetting where you come from.
Ooh.
Can't wait. Exactly. Shout out to Bar Scott.
I love it. Wait, oh my gosh. First of all, I'm loving all the little ad-libs that are added in here. This is the most that we've had.
We record here and then he records in the studio
other room.
on the other side of the engineer room, right?
Yes, we are live in Bravery Studios in Garfield, New Jersey.
That's it.
And his pod always gets the little ad-libs and stuff, so now we're getting ours.
I love it.
As the kids say, period.
That's it.
Oh, you girls are going to have so much fun with that going forward.
Oh, my gosh. But no, obviously, we want to have it light. We want to keep it, yes. A little fun and laughs a little because, right, it's a really serious topic that we talk about grief. And I think it's important that we also get male's perspective because, especially in the Hispanic community, I feel, and I think people of color, I'm going to say people of color.
Sure.
They're supposed to that's it, shut up, just go to work. You're not allowed to have emotions. You're not allowed to cry. You're, the B word if you cry and so on and so on. So you guys have to compact it. How was it for you growing up that, how were you able to express your emotions?
Well, that's a great question, and thank you for asking it. I really couldn't express myself. I felt like I had to basically put up or shut up because, God forbid, if I mentioned anything that I was feeling or going through at the time, it would just be stop it. You're a man. You're a boy. Grow up. What's wrong with you?
Right.
And it was like that either at home or at school.
Sure.
I really couldn't find an outlet to really just talk about these things, and I just felt at first I would just lock it up and just let it be what it be. But I would say that the first thing that really got me into expressing myself is writing. One thing that is kind of embarrassing, but I don't talk about enough, but I'll share with you ladies and your audience is when I was younger, I had a habit for some reason of speaking to myself, and I think it was kind of a release because I didn't know who to talk to, that I was kind of just talking out loud, thinking out loud.
Sure.
And people would look at that and they would think that I was some kind of weirdo or whatever words they choose.
Sure.
And my mom was kind of embarrassed by that, so she suggested that instead of just talking out loud, thinking out loud, what about just writing it? So instead I just had a plethora of notebooks and so on, and that's why I still even keep a pen to this day. To this day, even if I'm at a concert, a movie theater, whatever, a place that I don't need one, I always have one just because I just feel like it's part of my an appendage to me.
Sure.
Because I always feel the need to write if I need it, just to kind of get it out there.
Right.
So my notebooks are just a plethora of journal entries, grocery lists, movies that I haven't seen, this, that, and the third.
Is it because you used to watch Ghostwriter when you were younger?
Yes, that's part of it. That's part of it.
I love that show.
Yeah.
Loved it. That was my favorite. waves.
But that was the one thing that really got me to help me express and get it out as opposed to just keeping it in. But
Right.
you know, I thank God for the gift of writing and being able to write, because you know that was my outlet at the time. But yeah, no, I felt like because of the fact that I am a Hispanic male, and also due to the fact that my father did have a lot of toxic masculinity, and I did look up to him a lot when I was growing up, and when I actually grew up, not so much.
Sure.
But during that time when I was young, I felt like if I was going to succeed in life or actually be a man in life, I have to be like him. And needless to say, that I had a lot more growing up to do when I became an adult because of that.
Well, that's what I feel like, even to kind of intertwine our episodes together, you had said something that was kind of profounding to me, that you were just like, well, that's how the podcast got started, because this was your outlet of your voice.
Right. Yes. Thank you for bringing that up, because initially I knew I wanted to get into the medium somehow, some way. Like I did want to do radio at one point and just didn't work out. Then I started doing the podcast, and it was more about shining the spotlight on other people.
Sure.
And then afterwards, I noticed that once I started talking more personal about myself, that's when the audience and my guests were able to engage in me more. And I think that's why my name is brought up in the way that it is now in the circle, because I'm a person that is not afraid to share his vulnerability and so on and so forth. And I think people appreciate that.
Sure.
And hopefully I've been able to inspire people to do the same thing, whether on a platform of their own or just in general in everyday life.
But just even as a male.
Yeah,
As a male.
I think that's one of the things that has kind of a bit of a shock, for lack of a better term, to certain people, because they didn't expect a guy of my ilk to be so open and honest and vulnerable. Like, are you ashamed? Are you embarrassed? Like, no, it is what it is. It's life,
Right.
and I don't see any reason why I should feel these kind of ways. And
Sure.
that also comes with growth, because I feel like earlier in my years I would have let that discourage me from not doing something like that. But
Right.
after I grew some thick skin and so on and so forth, I feel like that's what led me to becoming the person that I am now. And I'm very proud of the work that I've done.
I think there's so much freedom in vulnerability. Like, being vulnerable is so freeing.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I wish more men would take advantage of that, you know, being vulnerable, being open, having feelings, having, you know, emotional intelligence. I feel like there's so much freedom that comes from it. Like,
Right.
do you feel more free when you're able to kind of say whatever you want on the podcast and not just like written down in a notebook? Like, do you feel more self-satisfied in that
Yes, because like with you know, writing it down, it's a release, but you actually have ears and eyes when you have a platform to do it, you know. And you know, for anybody that's
So you
out
can
there,
feel seen.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
Feel
you know,
seen.
and I want to stress this out to people, that if there's anybody that feels that way and they want to get into this medium, I mean, we're very fortunate to have, you know, the opportunity to be in a studio like this and everything. But I didn't start out from the studio. I actually started with just a little mini microphone, and then I just uploaded it myself, and that's how it went. So I would say that to say that you don't have to always have the perfect situation. Just start from the ground up, and then
That's
eventually
it.
you'll grow.
Yeah, I mean, how many people start off as TikTokers, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just, or you do like longer Instagram videos and talk
And
about.
look at me, I did it with Planted Seed, and I
Right.
was doing, and you had brought up the what's your
Story?
what's your story Wednesdays, you know, and all I did was like use Zoom. But now, you know, Zoom is a hot mess, but whatever, it's not even neither here or there, you know. But it's funny you say that too, and you brought it up, Liz, about the freedom. Miguel messaged me and he said he watched our
shout out to
thing.
Miguel, yeah.
Shout out.
Miguel's our breathwork episode.
You see, I
that
still
maybe you
get I
haven't
gush.
seen it.
He's like, Jessica, I know I don't gush when I talk about you. I said, yes, you do in your own little way, but I gush every time. But he says he appreciated like just that conversation that we had. So make sure you guys go check out that episode. But to kind of intertwine, like he said, like it's the freedom and just having that compassion, that self-compassion was like you can see it on screen.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that really worked for me personally is I was able to get messages and praise from people that I never knew. Like, I think one of the greatest compliments that I ever had was from somebody that messaged me from Vegas. I never set foot in Las Vegas before, ever in my life. And some guy just happened to see a guest spot that I did on somebody's episode. And I was talking about my suicide attempt, the first time I ever spoke about it ever anywhere on a platform. And this is a guy that I don't know from a can of paint, but he went through the same thing that I went through. And he felt like, even though we're like 2,000 miles apart, there was a lot of synchronicity there, and I think it was a beacon of hope for him that
Sure.
okay, maybe he doesn't know anybody in his circle that understands where he's coming from, but at least somewhere out there in the world that there's somebody that is. So
Right.
if I'm able to, push that message forward with my show or whatever I do as far as creation is concerned, then the more the merrier. Absolutely.
Right. I love that. And I love that, you were able to connect with someone across the country.
Yeah.
So, and that's obviously like our hopes that whether it's a guest, whether it's one of the topics that we talk about, that we just try to reach someone who's really in need, right? Because, right, just kind of how you brought up suicide, right? That topic alone, we just met with Kiana, and, her dad took his life. And she is still, going through it, I feel like. And I feel like it's still hard for her to talk about. But she came up and she was brave to talk about it. But again, it goes back into the Hispanic community that they go back into suicide. Like they go into try to take their life instead of talking about it or living up to some accountability for certain things.
Well, she had mentioned taking people serious when they talk,
Yes.
especially men when they do open up, take them serious. And I think what you're doing and what we're doing is trying to create a safe space.
Yes.
Right? It's all about creating this safe space so that people can share, because no one is going to be vulnerable or share or be open about things unless they feel safe. So
Right.
it's about creating that same space so that
Yeah.
people can share.
Yeah, and I also am very grateful for this platform and being able to share this, because even in my own personal family, when I try to explain some of these things before I even had a show and I was talking about this, I was just met with disappointment. They looked at me like I should be ashamed for even thinking these thoughts, or they didn't even want to look at me because I was admitting how I'm feeling. I'm like, all right, well, what am I supposed to do now?
Right.
So-
Go
Right.
scratch.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Suck it up.
I
Big
think
deal.
as moms, we get that a lot too, just because it's you can't fall apart. You have to live for your kids.
Right.
When my sister passed, one of the first things I had said was I don't know how I'm going to live without her. And my colleague immediately was like, don't say that. You have to live for your kids. And it was yeah, I know. But can I
Can I get a minute?
can I fall apart? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's everybody's allowed to fall apart a little bit.
Right.
Right.
But I also think that people become so uncomfortable with that.
Yeah.
They become very uncomfortable because
That is
they're
true,
comfortable with sharing their own, right? It's always like a projection. It's a mirror, right? We mirror each other. And I feel that, and I'm not trying to turn on the therapy because, I told you I turn it off when I come here. But I just feel like some people, they just don't understand how to handle, I've lost a lot of friendships when my brother died. And I was grieving hard. They did not know how to handle it. But how does anyone not know how to handle it? I feel like unless you've been through the experience of some sort of death by closeness, closeness death, I feel like that's the only way that you can have empathy. Some people can have empathy for others is when they go through it.
Yeah.
And it's really unfortunate. And you said that you had lost your dad, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
And you said how long ago was that?
Next month it'll be 8 years.
Wow. Wow. And what steps did you take to grieve? Because I know, again, right, in the other episode, we kind of talked about what are some of the things that you did. And you were like, oh, well, I had to do this. I had to plan the funeral. I had to do that. What ways did you take care of yourself during that time of your grieving?
Actually just stepping away. I feel like when I get overwhelmed or I feel like it's just too much that's surrounding me and it's overwhelming, I take myself out of the equation temporarily, because that's my way of taking a breath. That's my way of compartmentalizing myself and getting myself together. And I don't do this anymore as much, but back then cigarette smoking was a thing for me. Smoking was a way for me to just take a couple of minutes out and just get my shit together and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
Can I curse on here, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Just
please. They flagged us on one, and it was
My mouth.
Yeah, they flagged her.
I'm I'll work on it. I'll work on it.
Yeah. No, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, just making sure.
No, but so kind of like what we talked about with Miguel is that grief is held in the lungs. And that's why you're inhaling the cigarette, because you're trying to regulate your breathing. You're trying to regulate your nervous system.
Sure.
And when you're inhaling and you're having that time for yourself just to smoke a cigarette, you're like, okay.
Yeah. It's kind of like that Ben Affleck meme that we see all the time where he's outside.
Oh my God, that he's so annoyed with J-Lo. I'd be annoyed with her too. I mean, I'm just saying.
But it's true. You take those few minutes, which almost knocked my laptop over. You take those few minutes just to like breathe.
Like a wussa.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, exactly.
But even like people who take edibles versus smoking a joint, they're like, no, I need to smoke it. Even if you have the same feeling.
Yeah.
It's like, I need to smoke a joint because I wish I enjoyed it.
No, I hate
but
the smell.
I can't do it. But like I envy people who could like roll a joint and like take a couple pulls and just be like breathing.
Yeah.
You know, because it's true. It's just taking a deep breath.
Yeah.
If Miguel was here, he'd be like, okay, all of you can breathe without those things, right?
Yes,
you do know you all can take a deep breath without any of those things.
He would be like, come on, now we're gonna go do breath work. Let me teach you how to breathe.
Right.
Because that's just who he is.
Well, that's also why I noticed that a lot of people they're into meditation. That's a form of breathing exercise as well. I'm personally not. I personally haven't done it.
Insight timer.
I'm not opposed to it.
Insight timer.
Okay.
Download it. It's an app. It's
Okay.
free.
It's an app. I'm like,
Insight timer. It's Insight, and
Are they sponsoring you?
No, as they should. But you know what it is? They offer so many free good ones. Like if we mentioned like Calm and BetterHelp, like you actually had to pay for like really good ones. As with Insight Timer, there's so many people that are giving back to other people. Like that's their gratitude to give back. It is phenomenal. They have different ones. They have like fertility ones. They have loss. They have grief. They have, I mean, the list is just endless, the things that they have. And they even have challenges too.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. I wish they would sponsor us. One day we'll get a sponsor.
But to fully answer your question, the whole grieving thing for me was just taking time to myself, because when I feel like I'm by myself and alone, not surrounded by people, even just by one person, I'm able to just take time to myself and compartmentalize and get my stuff together.
Yeah.
knowing when to take a break.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if she's overstimulated, she's like, okay, I'm going home.
And some people at the time thought it was counterintuitive because no, you need to be around people. Like I get that. I'm not abandoning you guys. I just need a
second.
Yeah, exactly.
I need some time for
There's some people who really benefit from alone time.
Yes.
I am not one of them.
I did. You know what? It was COVID, right? Because you know, since we were young, I'm the biggest extrovert that you'll ever find. But that's when I became the ambivert, when you were like, okay, in your game, you're like introvert or extrovert. And I was like ambivert because I learned to be in solitude. I learned to be by myself. And I was just like, man, I love myself. Like, I need to date myself more and like take myself out. And then that's like, I think when I first moved, I started to buy flowers from Trader Joe's every time I went shopping.
For yourself.
For myself. And yeah, sure. Listen, my husband buys me flowers, you know, occasions and this and the other. I make sure there's always fresh flowers every week.
Pretty.
Every week in my house or anytime I go food shopping. But just to really sit within self and like accept your flaws and all and just accept your, and you know, and then I started to open up more into like human design and your Enneagram and all this other stuff. And you're like, what the hell is she talking about? I got you. But yeah, there you go, Marv. But yeah, like, I mean, with all that being said, like, I took the time out to be by myself and just really just sit with it. And that's something in a million years I would never had said. Like, sit with it, sit with emotions. Yeah. I run from that. I'm the queen of disassociation, the queen of compartmentalization. And a lot of people that have been around me, a lot of cancers. And they're like, no, girl, you got to feel your feels. And I'm like, get away from me.
I feel like I'm always looking for a distraction, which is why I like to be around people. I like to just, like, I don't really sit still. If I sit still, I'm napping. I'm either napping or I'm like, you know, catching up with somebody, talking to somebody. Let's meet up. Let's go here. Let's go there. So we have a question on our outline, which was like talking about how to raise emotionally healthy boys in a culture that shames softness. So as a boy mom, I'm really interested in like your take on that. You're not a parent, right?
No.
But
I'm a dog dad, but that's
you're a dog dad. You're a man.
It is.
So like anything being raised, like what do you think contributes to being raised emotionally healthy? Or like we talked about the culture, right, of being vulnerable and being outspoken and sharing your feelings and being vulnerable. But what do you think could kind of counteract that shaming softness?
Well, first and foremost, I just think it's I think it actually even like getting rid of the toxic masculinity. I think
Right.
first thing that comes to mind is like just having good manners to begin
Right.
with. You know, I think that good manners is a good starting point to not be a jerk, not to be dismissive, not to do this, not to do that, and just be empathetic. You know, I'm like I said, I'm not a parent myself, but I'm sure there are ways to do it. But like, I would say that the textbook way is to just basically teach empathy at an early age. It doesn't matter who, you know, you're talking to, no matter what sex or race they are. You know, it all starts, I feel like, you know, young children in general, no matter what the sex, is that they have a clean slate, and it's up to us
Tabula rasa.
it's really basically us, it's up to us to, you know, control the environment that they're in, for lack of a better term, or at least just be give them the choice to understand.
Right.
Give them, you know, and also tell them from experience. You know, teach them experiences that you girls or anybody has experienced, and the positives, and I think that's where it starts, because I think the whole toxic masculinity thing started with having to have thick skin just in case somebody wanted to do something to you, and you know, just step to you or whatever the case, and you have to put on this tough guard.
Yeah.
And I just feel like there's other ways around that, as opposed to just sticking your chest out ready to fight.
Right.
Yeah.
I also think that, you know, boys are definitely much different than girls. But I also feel things have shifted in
Times
our,
have changed, yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like things have shifted. I do feel like a lot of men are finally stepping into their femininity side of themselves, but I think a little bit too much, because now they're forgetting, I guess, roles that they're supposed to play. But I think it's just misconstrued. I think just a lot of things like, right, you don't want to be too hard on your son and be like, oh no, like, you know, this is what you're supposed to do. Or, you know, like, for example, you need to open the door for women, or you open the door for or you stand up for the elderly. Like, and I feel like, and maybe that's more manners that I'm talking about, but that's been like, it's been obsolete.
But that's a starting point, I feel like it is.
Sure, 100%.
So I think the starting point is with just proper manners, and just being, like, I remember a while back where I had a neighbor and I didn't know him from a can of paint. He didn't know me for can of paint. He would try to say hello to me, and I wasn't trying to be dismissive,
right.
But I just like, I really don't know this guy. I'm not looking to make friends right now. I'm kind of on the go. I gotta go.
Yeah.
And then after 2 or 3 times, he just told me straight up, man, dude, you got bad manners.
Yeah.
You need to work on that.
Yeah.
And that was like a real eye opener, and I haven't been that way since.
Right. Well, I think it's also the tri-state area. You say like good morning to someone, it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
well, you got a problem with me? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like,
What are you looking at?
What are you looking at? Like what? Like, you know, so it's like that meme, like that from your NYC, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's like they have the whole entire list of it. But like, you know, and then in California, you're like, oh, good morning. And you're like, good morning, sunshine. And you're like, yo, where the hell am I?
It's,
You know?
it's like that in the South, too.
Yes, it's only up here. Like everybody has an attitude problem where they're just angry, and I'm like, why are you taking your anger out? Just say good morning, have a great day, you know. But I instill that in my daughter. Like she'll see people and she'll be like, okay, thank you, welcome, thank you, or then she'll say, you know, have a great day, see you soon, you know. And I try to instill that in her because, you know, it starts at home.
Yeah, and I think from my experience, you know, things like that, I don't know why, but they were taught as like, that's not cool. You know, that's not the cool thing to do. That's not the cool thing to say.
That's another thing too, especially with social media playing a part in so many young men's lives, and it's really about what's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you want to be looked at in a good light.
Yeah.
And people think how cool you are, how awesome this is, and so on and so forth. And you know, I think there was a point in time, especially me growing up, where attitude was like the thing to have in order to be admired.
Like tough.
Exactly.
I remember my tough, angsty stage.
Was that like freshman, sophomore year? I feel like,
I think it started in 8th grade for me. I don't know.
We needed to put. Yeah, remember I left 8th grade. I had to transfer my first and last year because I moved. Yeah. But like, I feel like it was like freshman stuff. But I feel like we were also trying to put our setting in there. Like we were like setting our foot there. Like, listen. Don't mess with me. Yeah. I know how to fight.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm wearing a FUBU shirt.
Listen. No, I had the baby fat, like.
Oh, the baby fat.
Baby fat jacket. And my Enrique.
And the FUBU shirt.
I had the fat farm.
And the
Fat
velour.
farm.
We had the velour.
The velour.
That popping.
And let's not forget Rockaware. I had Rockaware too.
Rockaware.
Oh my
But
gosh.
anyway, but what I wanted to say real quick, because what you just said kind of popped into my head, is I feel like, okay, that was you girls at a certain point in your life,
Yeah.
but then you eventually grew up and got out of it.
Yes.
Whereas I feel like there's a lot of people, but more specifically men, that are still in that phase.
Yes.
You know, they still are stuck in that high school mentality, for lack of a better term,
Yeah.
and it boils
Emotional
over into,
emotional immaturity.
right. And I think
Yeah.
it boils over into their everyday life and also to their family and friends and even their children at one point.
Yeah.
So
That's true, because girls grow out of it when we start to look more like women, right?
Right,
Then we're
right,
like,
right.
okay, we need to act a little bit more like a lady or things like that. But it's true, men, your whole life, you're told,
Right.
you got to be a tough guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And just to like a last but not least question, because we can always hang out all the time, and we
Absolutely,
have so
yes.
mucan in common, and we just vibe, man. It's a vibe here.
hey, you guys might be coming back to the show, my show pretty soon. So
I mean, can we not talk about movies though? Like, 'cause,
No,
I'm just like not good at movies.
we got that out of the way.
Okay, all right. What can you share with our listeners, if there's male listeners right now? How would you be able to share like some support in grief? Like, how would you now, from what you know now?
Well, I would say that first and foremost, you are never alone. There's 6 billion people in the world, and we all bleed the same way. We all share the same emotions. We all share the same griefs in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter the size of your bank account. It doesn't matter the lifestyle that you live. It doesn't matter where you come from, the color of your skin, this, that, and the third.
Can't take it with you.
No, you can't take it with you. All I would say is that just know that you are not alone. Even if you have trouble finding people in your circle to understand where you're coming from, there's always still going to be at least one person that's going to sympathize and empathize with what you're feeling, and vice versa. And one of the things I also learned is that sometimes when people are trying to give great advice and try to big up people and be emotionally supportive, a lot of times it's also a deflection. Like, we actually are. I feel like I could be saying this to people right now, but I'm also kind of telling myself as well.
Sure, like a
so
mirror.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I would just say that, listen, people, we're all human. We're all brothers and sisters. We all feel the same pain. Just be there for one another, and don't shun anybody out, because you're actually doing more harm than good when you do that. And as not to sound corny, but I just feel like that would ultimately make the world a better place.
Oh, love. That is the answer.
It's a perfect ending.
It is a perfect
It's
ending.
a perfect ending.
Do you want to tag yourself?
Like, the more you know.
I love it.
Do you want to tell people where to find you?
Yes, so ladies and gentlemen, you can find me at I am Jason Enrique on all social media platforms. That's Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, everything. And also I just created a Substack, so be sure to follow me on that as well.
You're on Substack.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah, and so also just be checking out for First Class, Second Place, available on all streaming platforms, not just on YouTube, but also on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, all that good stuff. Almost at 200 episode, and thank you guys for everybody that has been supporting the platform. Thank you so much, and I thank you girls for having me on.
Oh,
Thank
and
you.
I love you girls for doing it, so
Joining
keep
us.
it going.
Thank you.
We're family. We're bravery
That's
family.
it.
here.
We're Bravery family. Bravery up.
Bravery up.
And that's Marv behind the scenes. So thank you guys so much for joining us. You can find us. Oh my gosh. We always.
all streaming
There you go.
platforms. Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, so we're on
Instagram.
TikTok, Instagram. We post a lot on Instagram. Well, just us.
No,
Thank you.
you were supposed to.
I know.
That's on
I
you.
was- It's you can't tell which one of us is posting.
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
never
Don't
know.
slide in those DMs. No,
Yeah.
let me stop.
You could. It'll get to one of us eventually.
Right, exactly. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us.